Chris Hensley is a registered representative of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member of FINRA SIPC, investment advisor representative, Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Houston First Financial Group are not affiliated.
The Houston Midtown chapter of the Society for Financial Awareness presents Money Matters with your host, Christopher Hensley.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Money Matters on KPFT Houston. I'm Chris Hensley. The time is now 10 a.m. Got a great show lined up for you today. We are here with SUPERLady Loretta Williams Gurnell. She is the CEO and president of SUPERGirls Shine Foundation. She is also a Houston Money Week partner. So you've heard me talk about Houston Money Week many, many times on the show. We will do kind of a deep dive and a conversation about what SUPERGirls Shine organization is, as well as how they have recently become a partner with Houston Money Week. So please stay tuned. She is live in the studio with us today. But as you know, if you're a longtime listener, we always reserve the first few moments of the show just to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the Houston and Gulf Coast community as far as financial literacy and financial awareness. So really, on that, we are here in November, and we're in 2017, and we're going to be talking today about Houston Money Week 2018, which takes place in April. So why are we talking about this so early if this is something that's happening in April? Well, that's because the event is so large that it takes us months and months to get it ramped up and get it going. So we did have a leadership team meeting this month. We had a partners meeting this month, and we have new organizations joining. The event is getting bigger and bigger, so we'll talk a little bit more about that. I did want to let you know that we have financial expert Wade Pfau is going to be on the show on December 8th. He has a new book that just came out, and so we're going to do kind of a deep dive into his new book. I'm kind of excited about that. I'm taking a retirement income certification planning specialist class, and he's actually one of the teachers on that class, and so it's kind of neat to see it, as well as financial academia. Him, Michael Kitsis, they're kind of the top of the when you're looking at academia and when we talk about financial literacy. So excited to have him come in on the 8th of December. With that, let's go ahead. So we'll have the most time with Loretta, who is here looking at me live in the studio. We're going to go ahead and let me turn your mic on here. All Loretta, right. How are you doing?
I am wonderful today on this Friday, Chris. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming in. So I want to always share a little bit of your bio with listeners so that they can get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you.
So as a managing partner, CEO of SUPERLady Live Movement, Loretta values the work, life, and passions of women and girls and has created multiple platforms for them to shine, speak, and learn from, such as the SUPERLady Houston Calendar, SUPERLady Live Talk podcast. So we'll ask you about that here in a moment. The network is open to men and women, and SUPERGirls Shine Foundation, mentoring girls 10 to 17 through leadership development, character building with a focus on STEM. And so we're really advocates of STEM here, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So we're about to learn a little bit about this organization here. Can you tell me something about yourself outside of the bio, just so that we can get to know you a little bit better?
Well, I'm a lady, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and I think those are my greatest assets, is that my faith, my family, and my freedom. Those are my 3 F's, and I stand by them. So in everything that I do, Chris, I do my best to rely on those principles of having the values of my faith, my family, my freedom. Because I have standards in those areas, everything else is a bonus. So you get the good residuals, the overflow of me making sure that those 3 principles or standards are well taken care of. My husband and I have been married 17 years. We have 2 dudes that are 12 and 10, and they are a handful. Boys.
Wow.
Active, energized, intelligent, smart, handsome, and boys to the core. So, my life is that's what it is, Chris.
So I've been married for 20 years and I've got the one. I can imagine doubling him. That's some work there.
Come on now.
So where do you find time then for your organization, which is SuperGirls Shine Foundation? It is also a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Tell us a little bit about that. What is that organization about?
This organization, Chris, is an organization that teaches girls that they can. And so my mantra is that the more that we can reach them, then we can teach them. And so we teach them by reaching them through principles or modules, as we call them, through conversations of who am I? How do I make good choices? What are relationships, good, bad, or indifferent? How do I choose people in relationships? And what do I want from a relationship before I even embark in a relationship? Whether that's friendship, whether that's girl-female friendships, if that is just from teammates. We talk about those core things of being a whole person first. And then we involve them with leadership and character building activities and experiences that focuses on STEM. We know that science, technology, engineering, mathematics, of course, it is the industry of today, right? But one of the things that we hear from girls is that they say, "Oh, Miss Loretta, math is so hard," or science is so hard. And I tell them, no, math is not hard. Science is not hard. You just have to develop the skill and understand the skill set around math and science, the critical thinking, and now you can do anything. So our foundation really is, we have a program that's called SuperGirls Shine Club. And that club runs from October until May. And it's in the schools. And the beautiful thing about this particular program is that we literally can model this particular curriculum and have it replicated from school to school to school. And so I developed that curriculum because we were doing SuperGirl Table Talks on Saturdays. And Chris, we weren't reaching enough girls. We had great conversation. We had great feedback. But what happened was, there were girls from pockets all over Houston. And I said, I've got to figure out a way to reach more girls so we can get the data. We don't want them to just have a good experience. We want them to start taking pre-AP and AP courses in the STEM areas. Then we want them to graduate with STEM recognition. And then we want them to go on to college and be STEM scholars. And then we want them to choose careers in STEM. And then once they choose careers in STEM, all of this has led them up to be great leaders and character builders because of the skills that we built them. And then now they will be great leaders that are females in the areas of STEM.
I love it. So that's a lot. That's a lot. I love it. So you started by just even the leadership skills, the communication skills, and then getting into the STEM stuff all the way up to the pre-AP where you would get college credits in high school prior to going to college. Now, you talked about already being in some schools here, and I'm looking at your bio here where A-Leaf, and I grew up in A-Leaf.
Oh, so wonderful. Are you familiar with Ollie Middle School?
Yes, I know.
Oh, my gosh. Ollie Middle School is our education.
I went to Holland Middle School.
Oh, my goodness.
But everybody, Hastings and Elsa, but so you've been to many of the schools there that are already kind of implementing this program. Could you share a story where you've worked with some of the girls at the schools that maybe stands out to you? Okay,
there's one particular girl. She actually attended our June event. It's called SuperGirls Experience. This particular girl is a rising junior, and she shared with me, she said, Miss Loretta, before today, I was not planning on attending college. And let me tell you why, Chris. She didn't know that she could have scholarships to attend college. Her parents weren't in a financial position to be able to put her into college, or had not had the education. And that's why the April event that we're going to talk about later is so important. They didn't have the education about what monies are available for her to attend college. And she attended an all-day experience with girls. We started off with conversations about who am I, and then they actually they drew different signs in groups about what they think about themselves as girls. So they had signs that says girls are as strong or just as lightning as thunderbolts, or if anybody can figure out, a girl can. I mean, these are signs, they are empowerment for themselves, but they came up with this wall of sayings about what they believe that girls are. Then they went into different sessions on money, about about what opportunities are available for scholarships. And they also talked about my body, because girls need to know about their body, their changes, and what to do when their body starts changing and how to do it, successfully. And then the last piece is we had Shell. Shell came in and they did a project management, engineering design project for the girls, and they had to work in teams. Oh my goodness, Chris, you're talking about girls around tables building, and this is the same exercise that Shell employees went through. And so that particular exercise, when Paven got done, she said, Miss Loretta, this experience was educational, it was engaging, and it was good for her, because she looked at STEM totally different now. Because again, remember, some people have shared with our girls and boys that maybe science is not their area or math is not their area. But I tell them all the time, it may have been your teacher, it could have been the timing, or it could have been lack of skills. But when you become in a situation where you see your skills are developed, and now you can make good choices about yourself and about what you want to learn, and then you can connect the dots. Last time, about 2 weeks ago, I was a speaker at Prairie View A&M, and I was talking to NSBE, which is a National Society of Black Engineers, and they asked me to come and just do an empowerment. But there was a girl who was there who wanted to leave, Chris. Her mother came up to me when I got done speaking. She said, Miss Loretta, can you just talk to my daughter? I was like, okay, sure. I said, well, what's going on? She doesn't think STEM is for her. I said, so what is it that you like? She said, I like cosmetology. She said, I love doing hair. I said, do you understand that braiding is physics? And she said, how? Well, aren't you changing angles every time that you move your fingers, going back and forth to braid? And I said, I look at your hair. Did you do your hair? I did my own hair. She said she did her own hair. I said, oh my goodness. So you're innovative and you're creative. And I said, your mother's hair is processed. To me, that's a perm. That's a chemical change. That's chemistry. So we literally were talking about hair, cosmetology. And then I shared with her, not only do you want to become a cosmetologist, have you thought about ownership? So you want to study to become and earn your MBA. So once you earn your MBA, you can understand the business side of developing an entrepreneurship or small business owner. But then we went on to talk about she likes makeup, Chris. Mm-hmm. Oh, she's a girl. Well, makeup is chemistry. And then I shared with her a local creative arts designer of Lamique, and how she is a chemist who makes her own makeup in the lab. And she was like, wow, Miss Loretta. I said, so now, dear, do you understand that STEM truly is everything?
There's nothing that it doesn't touch.
Nothing.
I love that. And you mentioned earlier what age range?
10 to 17.
10 to 17.
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned earlier the team building skill meeting, and I've been to those with adults that they've broken down in the middle, trying to build like a straw project. And they can't work together, and so children may even be at an advantage because of those roadblocks in there. Also, you mentioned these kind of negative self-talk, these conversations that they have with themselves. Maybe somebody's implanted that seed, and that age group from 10 to 17. What a great time to be able to step in and kind of point them in the right direction on some of these areas. I love that.
Thank you.
So I would get in trouble if I did not ask you, because I could sit here and talk about this all day.
Right, I know, right?
If I didn't ask you about Houston Money Week.
Oh my goodness.
So this is your first year.
Yes, it is. It hasn't even been 6 months.
Tell me a little bit about, for listeners who don't know what Houston Money Week is, what is Houston Money Week?
Houston Money Week, to me, I believe it's a platform, and I'm going to do this verbatim because I am still new, but it's a community-wide initiative to empower families and individuals with financial education through the collaboration and coordinated efforts of organizations across Houston and surrounding areas, including businesses, financial institutions, schools, libraries, nonprofits, government agencies, and the media. Individuals of all ages will have access to financial resources and ongoing opportunities. So in other words, my understanding as a new partner is, as a nonprofit organization, we have an opportunity to partner with businesses and business decision-making leaders within the Houston Money Week to not only, one, exercise a more extended, broad network for our either activities, events, or nonprofit organization, but really to come around and to form partnerships to find out what are some of the deficits within our community and how can we partner together to collaborate for the greater good. And that's how I see Houston Money Week. Is basically they're a partner with us. We have an idea for April to have this, this money activity or this event, and then I was introduced, and I would be remiss. I need to stop and tell Erica Jones, thank you so much. She's the president of Houston Money Week, and we're grateful for her leadership. But I also have to thank Chris, is Trisha Bradley from Frost Bank. Trisha actually is my sponsor. She is the one who brought me and invited me to Houston Money Week. So without Trisha, I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation because I would have never met Erica. And Trisha is actually one of our partners for our event in April. So there is and I love saying that because in my business, SUPERLady Live Movement, that's how I've built my business, is through collaborations, partnerships, and strategic alliances. And I believe in that wholeheartedly. I refuse to do it alone. Our tagline is "Together we are strong," and I truly believe that. So when you look at the force of Houston Money Week, it says Houston Money Week, but it really is Houston Money Year. If you will.
That is exactly right.
Because the education takes place the entire year. The collaborations and partnerships happen throughout the year. The events, what started 10 years ago? This is the 10th anniversary coming. Yeah. And so one of the good things about it is that it may be called Houston Money Week, but the impact that you, Erica, Trisha, myself, and others make, it happens 12 months out of the year.
I love it because that's exactly right.
That's what it is.
That's exactly right. Well, tell me a little bit about this event that you have coming up through Houston Money Week.
Well, first of all, may I tell you where it came from? I think that would give you a better understanding. I'll say, so my husband and I we're married 17 years, and we're looking at our retirement, and we're looking at our boys' spending, we're looking at their investment, we're looking at, okay, where are we at this particular age, where they are, and where we need to be when they graduate and those things. And so we had to have if you will, come to Jesus meeting and look down at the numbers.
Right.
And some of them didn't have enough zeros, Chris. I'm just being honest. And so when we did that, we were like, okay, babe, if we don't do something now, we're not going to be where we need to be when they graduate. Because this is one of the things, is that people do what they know. They can't do anything different unless they know something different. And so a lot of times we blame society, we blame families for not getting out of certain situations. But if I've never been empowered or taught to do something different, this becomes my normal. Well, we share with our children all the time that your normal is what happens in this home. Everything else that happens outside of this home, you make a decision if you want that to become your normal. But what's normal is what happens inside of our home, through faith, through our family, through our freedom, through communication, through laughter, being silly, from being boys with mama, whatever it is, that's normal, right? But when it comes to money wasn't something that neither one of my husband and I family talked about. And so it was almost like this hush-hush thing. You go to work, daddy pays the bills, mama does this, and that's it. But where money, okay, if I need a checking account, I need to know how to balance a check. If I have a savings account, what am I saving for? What is a rain account? What is a savings? What's a money market? What are all those things? So when we came into the understanding of that, we brought our boys in on it. And Chris, this is where it changed. When they started asking us questions, we knew we were not in this alone. And so I said, okay, guys, if you guys are asking me all these questions, you're asking your daddy all these questions, I know my girls, meaning my girls from SUPERGirls Shine Foundation, probably would ask their mothers and their fathers these same questions. We need to do something about this. And that's where the biz of Money Matters started from a conversation with my family, trying to change our dynamics financially. Yep. And then we realized if we did this, an all-day event, but then we did something a little bit different. We actually select 3 families and mentor them for 6 months. Then we knew at that particular point, not only was that going to change that girl, it was going to change her family, but it's going to change a community, which then entails changes a generation. And so we call it the Biz of Money Matters. And Biz of Money Matters is really simple. And I want to be able to share with you what that matters means. Matters is motivating action through teachable experiences that revolutionize simplistically. And I came up with that acronym, if you will, because everything that we do, we want to do it on purpose, but we want it to be where if a person is not financially literate, he or she can come in the conversation, be able to look at whatever this skill is, hone in on that skill, gain that skill, apply that skill, and then do something about it. So the whole conversation that day is, what is money? How does money work? What are best practices to managing money? How can I make money? How does money work for me versus me working it for it? What do I need to start an IRA? What are stocks? What are mutual funds? I want to go into real estate. Houston is booming. We're coming back, right? Houston strong. So what does it mean to be a homeowner? Or what does it mean to be an investor? I mean, those kinds of things. And then I want to be, I might want to be a business owner. So what is an entrepreneur? What's a small business owner? We're just there to be a conduit for information and education, but then to make sure that they just don't have a good day and a good experience. That's why we're choosing the family. And that's where, gurus like you come in and help us to be able to take it beyond that day and make it practical in their life. So it literally is a program of 6 months, and they'll have professionals come in and help them, first of all, talk to them about money and where they are, because everybody's situation is different. And we're not going to expect the same outcomes from each of them. We're going to align our goals based on that family where they are. We're going to meet them where they are. And then we're going to decide together as a team, where do you want to see your life, or what do you want your family to be able to do freely in the next 6 months? And then we're going to suggest to them, this is how you can do it.
I love it. I love it. So this is one event.
That's one event
in one quadrant.
Yes.
So were you told this is what you need to do? How does that work as a Houston Money Week partner? How did you come up with this?
So cool. So we're sitting in this meeting, and Erica tells us to go and get in our quadrants. And so we got in our quadrants, and I'm sitting there, and we're having this dialogue about, who we are. We got to get a chance to get to know each other. And by the way, Houston Money Week, I think you mentioned it, is this year for 2018 is April 14th through the 18th, right? At the 14th through the 18th. And so the good thing about it is our event is on April the 7th, because there are so many exciting events happening. Literally the month of April is going to be all of Houston Money Week, if you will. There's so many things going on. But the interesting thing for that particular quadrant, we were talking, and so I just raised my hand because I already knew this event was going to take place, because I talked to Trisha about it earlier, but I wasn't sure if it could be a part of that particular quadrant. We didn't have an event for the quadrant.
Oh, perfect. That's easy enough. Yes.
And I said, well, can this event be the quadrant event? And we talked about it. I gave them the spill of what it is. Yeah. They was like, yes. I was like, high five. We're in.
And for listeners, a quadrant is basically, we've taken a map of the entire, I want to say the entire city of Houston. It may even be the Gulf Coast region, because Houston's pretty big. And divided it up into different areas. And then we're looking for which organizations are in that area, and what have we done, what has worked in the past.
That's right.
This is a completely new idea.
It is.
What I really like is the following up with the family for 6 months, because a lot of the Houston Money Weeks, we have just a window of time in the year to get these free financial literacy events out to the community, and then but it's gone.
It's gone.
And so I love the idea of following up with the families for 6 months and kind of keeping up with that.
Yes.
For other organizations, so this is, you're a nonprofit.
Yes.
We're an initiative. There's many nonprofits involved, but there's also banks that are doing Community Reinvestment Act work.
Yes.
We have for-profit businesses that are on board with it. City government.
Yes.
Houston, a piece of this came out of the mayor's office many years back.
Yes.
Even school boards, local schools are involved in this. How would organizations, if they want to be a part of this and they want to find out more, how would they do that?
I think the best thing they do is to go onto the website for HoustonMoneyWeek.org, and that's HoustonMoneyWeek.org. You get an opportunity to read about the initiative. You look at some of the partners that are on there, look at dates. Dates are being added to the calendar each month, and as we get closer to January, I know Erica said that all of those dates for the Houston Money Week will be up there for that particular month. And I really just come and observe. One of the things that I share with my clients all the time is that, when you're invited to the table, then you have something to say. But Chris, what keeps you at the table is when you add value. And so, that's one of the things. We have two hands, one to give and one to receive. I came with the understanding that I was there to receive. But when I was there because I was a nonprofit, but then when I was there, I realized that I had much to give as well. And so now I just don't win. Everybody wins.
So speaking of that, of everybody winning, we're right here in November. It's Thanksgiving is next week.
It is.
We've got the holiday season coming up. Would you be able to share some tips for people around the holidays when it comes to your finances?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, from a mom perspective, one of the things that I love about our particular family is we call them dinner talks. Please involve your children in conversations about what you want for Thanksgiving and what does Thanksgiving really mean. It's more than a turkey, a ham and dressing and all of those things, but really talk about the things that you are thankful for. And then in an hour, as we are rebuilding Houston, come up with a list of things that you want your children or your children wants to be able to do for another family, or do for a classmate, or do for a geriatric center. Be able to take something to them from their heart, maybe a letter. There are a lot of people who are, and the reason why I use this first when we talk about money is because when we get our children to become more caring, then they'll understand the whole power of philanthropy, and then they'll be understanding the whole power of savings, investing, and getting out of debt. And so having them understand that there's a greater good. So then that piece. And then if we're talking about in the Christmas spending, the Kwanzaa celebration, the Jewish holidays, whatever that is, why are we really celebrating the holidays? Let's get back to the basics. That's the first thing. Always ask why. Talk about the true meaning of the holiday. For us, it's Christmas, Christ's birth. And then what is it that we can do that represents that particular holiday, that we be a blessing to somebody else? Do I have to give gifts, or can I be the gift? Can I make out a list with my children and ask them, what are the 5 things that you would like for Christmas this year, and why? And let's talk about what you will do with them. And then, then if you decide, someone gave me this tip. They said, Loretta, we used to give our children $100. And they would decide what they wanted to spend with that $100. So then you show them what $100 bill is, and then they can decide, do I put that all in the bank? If I want this particular gift, they can do the math and subtract. So now they understand the value of that dollar bill. If I really want that Lego set in my house, it's always Legos or a drone, right? So if I really want that, how much is it going to cost, and how many $100 bills do I have to have in order to get that? And then before we even do that, go in their rooms and let them purge. Give away some things, because if you're not playing with them, have them during Christmas holiday. You might even have a garage sale. Let them understand just the process of money management and exchanging money. Instead of them giving away maybe to the Goodwill, let them have their own garage sale. And then now they've earned this money, and now they can decide what they want to do with this money. So that's one thing. And then when you go grocery shopping, be mindful of the celebrated holiday. Ask people who are coming to your homes to bring a dish. Maybe you'll take care of the meats, which reduces your cost because now you don't have the side dishes. Maybe someone else will take care of the drinks. And then now you'll have another person takes care of the desserts. You've now reduced your bill probably about $200 or $300 just from one meal, one day. And now you're not stressed.
I love that, because not only are you reducing your financial costs, the stress level's going down. If you're not trying to do everything in the kitchen, that's awesome.
Yes. So, that's what I would say. Just be mindful. Have a plan about shopping. If you're a person that does a spender, if you can't pay cash for it and you have to put it on a credit card, then you probably don't need it. Because you don't want to walk into the new year with this credit card bill in January, and now you're starting off the year in debt, and everyone else is enjoying your gifts, but now you have to pay for it.
Then you would have to tune in January to our Cure the Christmas Credit Card Hangover show.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Money Matters Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, visit us on the web at www.moneymatterspodcast.com. Drop us a line on SpeakPipe on the right-hand corner. It will receive any voicemails, questions, thoughts, concerns that you have about the show. In addition to this, we recently launched a Patreon campaign. Click on the Donate Now tab to hit the tip jar and find out what Patreon's campaign is all about.